What's going on, my friends? I decided I'd make a quick little video today about something I was actually just talking to Paris about. I'm sure that you guys have all heard at some point or the other, don't just try to copy high levels lifters' form because it might be very specific to them. They might be where they're at despite their form, not because of it. And they might just not share leverages with you. And I think we can all come to similar instances in our head of just because you like how a lift looks does not mean that's necessarily a good technical model for you to work off. If you are a guy with relatively long femurs for your height and you see a weightlifter with very short femurs do a beautiful high bar squat, trying to copy his form verbatim, maybe there's things you can pick up from watching it, but trying to copy his form verbatim is just going to be an endless source of frustration for you when no matter how hard you try, your lift does not look like his because you guys do not share leverages. So maybe when we're a beginner, we kind of chase, let's just call it textbook form. Everything's pretty generic, right? And then from there, once we kind of get competent with that, we start trying things and we start to branch off into maybe small variations in technique that you find work better for you, right? In a perfect world, maybe everybody learns to pull with a relatively neutral back, and then people can from there find that maybe a rounded thoracic works for them. But we lock in that basic skill early, and then we deviate from there. Lots of people don't go through that. Lots of good lifters just started with that round thoracic and built it up. But I think in a perfect world, I would just recommend we kind of master generic form and then deviate from there. But let's say that you've been lifting for a little bit and you start finding hey, using a little bit more of a pec dominant bench technique or a shoulder dominant or a tricep dominant bench technique is yielding me success. What you can do from there is you can start looking to people performing at a higher level than yourself, utilizing either someone that has similar leverages to you can help you learn quite a bit about what lifting at a high level looks like with your leverages, or someone who's starting to skew in that direction, even if they don't necessarily share your leverages. So let's say you start finding that a little bit more of a shoulder dominant bench is yielding you a lot of success. A little bit more horizontal bar travel, maybe even a little internal rotation at the bottom, dump and heave, right? You can start looking to little bit more shoulder dominant benchers, even if they don't necessarily share your leverages. Watching how they lift can at the very least give you ideas for what to try. That way you don't have to just make stuff up and try it to continue to optimize your technique. You can kind of get these educated things to try based on lifters better than you. Maybe you watch a Bill Kazmaier or Jeremy Hornstra being shoulder dominant benchers off the top of my head, maybe like Andrew House. These guys who have a lot of horizontal displacement and have to travel that bar back using a lot of front delt, right? Vice versa, let's say you find that skewing more towards a pec dominant bench is yielding you success. Maybe you look to someone like Kirill or Larry Wheels who have very pec dominant bench techniques. And maybe copying them verbatim, at least for a little bit, is a strategy that improves your technique. You just get a lot of ideas and it moves you forward. Then from there, you're probably gonna have to deviate from them because you're not them, but it can also just give you really good ideas on things to try in moving your technique forward alongside your strength levels. I think if any of you watched that video of my bench transformation, when I was a beginner, I had beginner form. When I was an intermediate, I had intermediate form. And as I became more advanced, I had more advanced form. And that's the natural evolution of technique that most people go through. We can kind of look to the squat U, have advanced form when you're a beginner and then become advanced, but that's not how it happens for most of us. Most of us are not structuring this and progressing this within some cool weightlifting system in Russia where we have someone overseeing and stopping us from doing bad technique. Usually technique improvements come as of necessity. You say, oh man, I'm trying to get to an intermediate level bench. I'm not making these easy muscular strength gains. Maybe one strategy that I can use to get more weight on the bar is to get better technique. And that was very much the case for me. Is I didn't panic and think I was gonna destroy my shoulders because my technique wasn't good. I was like, damn, I wanna add another 5 pounds to my bench, but it's getting fucking hard to add 5 pounds to my bench at this point. When I was getting up towards 500, I was like, damn, just getting stronger is getting harder. Maybe I can use more efficient technique as another means of driving forward. So as I progressed as a lifter in strength, I progressed alongside it in technique. And this can just be one strategy you can employ to speed up. Maybe you're finding that your strength is progressing faster than your technique. Maybe you're someone who's got great intensity in the gym, but not the best focus on technical improvements. You're not really reviewing your videos. You don't think when you lift. This can be one way to try to catch that technical development up to the strength development. yeah, I hope you guys enjoy the video. Just the general gist is, don't just copy someone's technique because you like how their lift looks, but copying someone's lift can have a time and a place if they're well selected, whether that be due to leverages or maybe how they're biasing their bench. I personally benefited a great deal from watching and copying Eric Spoto's bench. Not that I bench like Eric Spoto, but seeing someone with a visibly tricep dominant press kind of gave me some ideas of what I should be internally cueing. So in my head, I look like I'm benching like him. In reality, my technique is very different than his, but that led me very much in the right direction. Yeah, so thank you for watching. Actually, to tag on there, to talk about like copying someone with just your leverages doesn't always work, right? Because just because someone has, let's say, long arms, if you've been seeing success biasing towards your bench, your pecs and your bench, copying someone who's biased towards their shoulders or biased towards their triceps for success with long arms might not be the best. So simply just picking leverages is a little bit reductionist, right? And a perfect example of this is recently I have been using videos of Tom Martin, amazing conventional deadlifter, has pulled 900 plus at 220 conventional. And Tom Martin, as you can imagine, has a deadlifter's leverages. He's got a shorter torso, he's got longer femurs and longer arms, the exact opposite build to what I have. But he is an example of someone who has a reasonable amount of forward knee travel, and it looks quite exaggerated in his start position. So using him as a technical model based on things that I've been having success with in my own training and seeing someone do that at a high level has been helpful, even though we don't necessarily have that much overlap in our leverages. And my lift isn't going to look like his lift, and that's okay, but I can kind of get those visual cues from him. I hope you guys like this video. I think it's not the most interesting thing in the world, but I think it's some practically actionable stuff that could maybe help you guys. Thank you for watching.